Right now, over 9 million people in the UK are carrying something in their wallet that could stop working without a single warning. No letter, no phone call, no explanation. Just a quiet beep at the bus reader, and then nothing. The free bus pass. For millions of older and disabled people, it is not a discount card. It is the only reason they can leave their house. And the rules around who keeps it, who loses it, and who never gets it in the first place are changing right now, faster than most people realize. In the next 19 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what is happening, who is most at risk, and the specific steps you need to take today, not next week, today, to protect yourself or someone you care about. Because the mainstream news is not covering this properly, and the people who will be hurt most are the ones least likely to find out until it is already too late. Let's start with some context because you cannot understand what is changing without understanding what the bus pass actually is. The English National Concessionary Travel Scheme was expanded to cover the whole of England back in 2008. Before that, free travel was a postcode lottery. After 2008, if you were old enough or disabled enough, you were in, regardless of where you lived or what you earned. That single change transformed the daily lives of millions of people. Research published by the Campaign for Better Transport found that over 70% of older bus pass holders say their pass is essential to maintaining their independence. Not helpful, essential. And when you look at how the pass is actually used, that number makes complete sense. People use it to get to GP appointments, to collect prescriptions, to visit family, to shop for food, to attend hospital follow-ups, to go to therapy. These are not leisure trips. They are the infrastructure of a functioning life. And for the roughly 1.2 million disabled people under pension age who also hold a pass, the situation is even more acute. Many of them cannot drive. Many cannot afford taxis. The bus is not a backup option. It is the only option. So when we talk about changes to the bus pass, we are not talking about a minor policy tweak. We are talking about a change that has the potential to cut people off from healthcare, from social connection, and from the basic dignity of being able to move through the world independently. Keep that in mind as we go through what is actually happening. The first change, and this is the one that is already underway right now, affects disabled pass holders. If you hold a bus pass because of a disability benefit, personal independence payment, disability living allowance, or certain employment and support allowance qualifications, your entitlement is tied to that underlying benefit. Here's the problem. The government is in the middle of a massive welfare reform program. It is moving people from legacy benefits onto universal credit and a new unified assessment system. And as that migration happens, the link between old benefit qualifications and linked entitlements, including the bus pass, is being reviewed. What that means in plain language is this. You could have held a valid bus pass for 10 years. Your condition has not changed. Your need has not changed. But because the system you originally qualified through is being wound down and replaced, your entitlement is no longer automatic. It has to be reassessed under new rules. And the new rules are stricter. People who had automatic entitlement under the old system are being asked to reapply, provide fresh medical evidence, and then wait through assessment periods that can stretch to 3, 4, even 6 months. During that wait, they have no pass. Think about what that means for someone who uses the bus to get to kidney dialysis 3 times a week, or to a mental health appointment, or to a pain management clinic. The wait is not an inconvenience. It is a direct threat to their health. We have heard from viewers, real people in real situations, who have been through exactly this. Their circumstances have not changed. Their need is the same. But the administrative machinery has shifted around them, and suddenly they are in a queue, proving themselves all over again, while their lives are on hold. This is not theoretical. This is happening right now in local authority areas across England. The second group facing real risk is people approaching, or just past, pension age. Currently in England, you qualify for a bus pass when you reach state pension age, which sits at 66. But there has been growing pressure from local councils and from within the policy machine to either raise that age or, And this is the bigger threat. WUS means test the scheme for the first time ever. Means testing the bus pass has been discussed for years. And for years it has been politically untouchable. No party wanted to be seen taking the bus pass away from older voters. But something has shifted. The language coming out of government consultations has changed. The framing has moved away from protecting universal access and toward, and I am quoting almost directly here, sustainable targeting of limited resources. That language matters. It is not accidental. It is the language that politicians and civil servants use to prepare the ground for means testing. We saw it with the winter fuel payment. The same arguments were rehearsed, and then the payment was restricted. The winter fuel payment was once described as untouchable. Then it was means tested. Over 10 million pensioners lost it. If means testing comes to the bus pass, the impact will be deeply unfair, and not just for the obvious reasons. The cruelest outcome will fall on people who are asset rich but cash poor. Think about someone in their late 60s who owns their home outright, a house they paid off over 40 years. It might be worth $200,000 or $300,000, but they cannot eat it. They cannot put it in their petrol tank. They live on a state pension of around $1,150 a year. Under a means-tested system, that house could push them over an asset threshold and disqualify them from what would effectively become an income-based benefit. They lose their pass, not because they are wealthy, but because a valuation formula said so. The research on this is consistent and damning. When older people lose access to affordable transport, they leave the house less. Their physical health declines faster. Their mental health deteriorates. Social isolation increases the risk of cognitive decline. And they end up costing the NHS significantly more in the long run than any bus pass ever could. The bean counters saving $200 a year on a bus pass end up triggering $2,000 in additional care costs. That is not a scare story. It is documented evidence. And it is the pattern we see every time preventative benefits are stripped away in the name of efficiency. Now, here is something that surprises a lot of people when they first hear it. The threat to your bus pass may not come from Westminster at all. It might come from your local council. The English National Concessionary Travel Scheme sets a floor, a minimum standard of free off-peak bus travel. But individual local authorities have the power to go beyond that floor. And for years, many did. They extended free travel to peak hours. They included trams and trains. They lowered the qualifying age to 60. They built generous local schemes on top of the national one. Now those councils are in financial crisis. Local authority budgets in England have been cut by an estimated 50% in real terms since 2010. More than half their funding gone. And the enhanced travel schemes they built during better times are some of the first things being stripped back. So even if the national rules do not change, your effective entitlement might already be shrinking. If you currently benefit from peak hour travel or free rail travel or a lower age threshold because of a locally enhanced scheme, you need to check with your specific council right now to understand what they are planning, because changes are already happening quietly in dozens of local authority areas with very little public notice. This is not one big announcement. It is death by 1,000 cuts. Little changes here, a quiet restriction there, an enhanced benefit that disappears from the website without a press release. And most people do not notice until the day they tap their card and the driver shakes his head. So why is all of this happening at the same time? Because several pressure points have converged at once, and the combination of them is what makes this moment so dangerous. Council budgets are being squeezed from every direction. The Department for Transport is running a review that has efficiency savings written into its terms of reference. And the broader welfare reform program is accelerating in ways that break the links between benefits and linked entitlements like the bus pass. Each of these would be manageable on its own, but together they are creating a perfect storm for pass holders. And here is the detail that people are not connecting. When a disability benefit is reassessed and reduced or removed, the person does not just lose that benefit. They can lose everything tied to it. The bus pass. In some cases, council tax reduction eligibility. In some cases, help with NHS costs. Multiple things can fall at once, and people often do not realize it until they are standing at a bus stop, tapping a card that no longer works, with no idea why. The government has been public about wanting to reduce the disability and incapacity benefits bill. It has not been public about the cascade effects of doing that. The bus pass is one of those cascading effects, and it is being allowed to happen quietly. Now I want to give you something genuinely useful, because knowing there is a problem is only helpful if you know what to do about it. Here are the concrete steps you need to take right now. First, find your bus pass. Not sometime this week, right now. Check the expiry date. Check which council issued it. If it was issued more than 3 years ago and you have not received any renewal correspondence, contact your local council directly. In some areas, passes are being allowed to quietly expire without proactive reminders being sent out. This is not an admin oversight. It is a passive way of reducing the number of active pass holders without making a formal policy announcement. Second, if your pass was granted on the basis of a disability benefit rather than age, you need to verify that your underlying benefit is still active. Log into your benefit account. Call the relevant helpline. Confirm that no reassessment has been initiated. Do not wait for a letter. The absence of a letter does not mean you are safe. It may simply mean the letter has not arrived yet. Third, if you are between 60 and 66 right now, you need to understand exactly which scheme applies to you and from where. In Wales, free bus travel is currently available from age 60. In Scotland, the National Entitlement Card also provides free bus travel from 60, but policy divergence across the nations is increasing. What is true today may not be true in 6 months. If you are in England and approaching 66, make sure you know when your qualifying date is and that there is nothing in your circumstances, no benefit migration, no council scheme change, that could complicate your application when that date arrives. Fourth, and this one is for family members watching, if you have a parent or grandparent who relies on a bus pass and is not digitally connected enough to be tracking these policy changes themselves, you need to have a direct conversation with them this week. Not next month, this week. Ask them if they have heard anything about their pass. Ask them when it expires. Ask them whether they have had any letters about their underlying benefits. The people most dependent on free bus travel are often the least likely to know that their entitlement is under threat. And fifth, keep a paper trail. If you make calls to your council or to the DWP about your entitlements, write down who you spoke to, when, and what they said. If you receive letters, keep them. If you are asked to reapply, do it in writing where possible. If your pass is refused or not renewed and you believe you are still entitled, you have the right to appeal. And a paper trail is the foundation of any successful challenge. I want to address something directly now because I know some of you are thinking it. Surely they would not actually do this. The bus pass is too politically sensitive. They would never go there. I understand why that feels true. The bus pass has historically been treated as untouchable. Politicians have been terrified of being seen as the party that took the bus pass away from Granny. But look at what has already happened. The winter fuel payment was described as untouchable for years. Then the language shifted. Then it was means tested. Then 10 million pensioners lost it. The triple lock is now described as unsustainable in government briefings. The language is shifting. The state pension age is going up again to 67 by 2028 and potentially to 68 sooner than originally planned. The pattern is consistent. Identify a benefit. Describe it as poorly targeted. Frame means testing as protecting only those who truly need it, and then implement the change while the public is focused on something else. The bus pass is the next logical target in that sequence, not because anyone in power wants to be cruel, but because the fiscal pressure is enormous and the political calculation is shifting. What was once too toxic to touch is slowly becoming tolerable, and the people who will pay the price are the ones with the least power to push back. There is a bigger picture here that is worth taking a moment to understand. What we are watching is not just a set of individual policy changes. It is a gradual renegotiation of the social contract between the British state and its older and disabled citizens. The post-war settlement was built on a simple idea. Certain protections would be available to everyone regardless of income, as a recognition of citizenship and of the contribution people had made over a lifetime of work and taxes. That idea is being unpicked. The bus pass is one thread. The winter fuel payment was another. The pension age is rising. The triple lock is under pressure. Disability assessments are getting harder to pass. Each change, taken on its own, can be framed as a reasonable adjustment to a changing fiscal environment, but taken together, they represent something much larger, a fundamental shift in what the state is prepared to guarantee you in the later years of your life. And the people who design these changes understand that most people will not see the full picture until it is too late. The changes are staggered. They come from different departments. They are announced in different ways at different times. No single headline captures all of it. That is exactly why channels like this one exist. Not to alarm you, not to tell you everything is going to be fine when it is not, but to help you see the full picture, so that you can make informed decisions, take practical steps, and fight for what you are entitled to. So here is where we stand. The free bus pass is not being abolished tomorrow, but the rules around it are being changed in ways that will result in real people losing access, and many of them will not see it coming. Disabled pass holders are being caught in the welfare reform migration. Older residents face the prospect of means testing and rising age thresholds. Locally enhanced schemes are being quietly cut, and the cascade effects of benefit reassessments are stripping away linked entitlements that people have relied on for years. The steps you need to take are clear. Check your pass. Check your underlying entitlements. Contact your local council if anything is unclear. Have the conversation with vulnerable people in your family. Keep records of everything. None of this is complicated, but it does require you to act now, not when the problem is already at your door. Because by the time the card stops working at the bus reader, the window to respond has often already closed. The rules of the system we all depend on are changing, and the people who understand those rules, who see the changes coming before they arrive, are the ones who keep what they have earned. Stay informed, stay ahead. And if you found this video useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because the person who needs this information most is probably not the one who went looking for it.